Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my Black Screen series. This is episode 40 of 52, and it's take 2 or probably take 3 when I think about it now. I've just recorded over half an hour worth of audio for this episode and then deleted it. I thought it was too long. Anyway, so the last episode I was probably a little bit upbeat. Today you're catching me not quite as good. There's nothing wrong, but I'll just explain what's happening. So last episode I was upbeat because I had a mate come in. He did come, but I thought he was going to come every day and help me from Monday or Tuesday onwards, and it's now Monday, so we're 6 days on, and he's only been here one day, and we didn't really get a lot done. We talked through a lot and sorted through a lot, and we came up with some good strategies, but yeah, we didn't actually get much done. So I've been plodding along doing my own things for the past week, and I'll run you through them quickly. But yeah, he's coming apparently soon, sometime this afternoon. It's already after lunch, and he's coming to help me do some welding for the bits of suspension that we're getting happening. So when he came, we discussed the priorities, where we should prioritise our attention, and it was decided that the best thing to do is focus on getting the wheels on the thing and getting it mobile, instead of messing around with all the electrics and cosmetic stuff. Just get on the road, get it working, or get it rolling at least. So yeah, that turned out to be the goal, and it worked out to be a really good strategy. So that's now my focus, or my main focus. I'm still getting distracted by other things, but yeah, they need to happen anyway. And there's time when he's not here that I need to be focused on a lot of those other things that aren't as important as getting the wheels on it, or aren't related to getting the wheels on it, because they do need to be done so that it's usable. So for example, building the steering wheel, doing the dashboards, they're things that I've been doing this week. I haven't built the steering wheel, but I started with the steering wheel centre. So basically the centre pad of your steering wheel, where normally you have a horn button or airbags or both, that's basically a control panel, and it's got my indicator switch, it's got indicator lights, it's got horn buttons, so there's two horns, so there's two horn buttons there, and there's also two auxiliary switches that I can use for whatever, probably headlights or spotlights, light bar, whatever. And I've also got room for another two more switches if I need. So I've been focused on those things, but I've also done some of the things that we've discussed, him and I together, as far as getting the wheels on it. So I originally came up with the idea of, to get the wheels on this thing, we were going to utilise the chunky thread, which is about 22.5mm thick, nearly an inch thick, and so these have got solid axles on them. 15mm is solid for even a cargo bike, so to have a 22mm axle is pretty cool. They are strong. Yes, they have a little hole in the middle where the cable goes through for the electrics because it's a hub motor wheel, but yeah, it doesn't take much away from the strength of it. So they're still way stronger than a 15mm solid axle would be. So yeah, I was going to utilise the thread, and I'd have a nut. I'd make a dropout as part of my framework that would go over the axle, and we put that up against the nut, and then we got another nut on the other side, and we tighten the two nuts against the piece of framework that's got a dropout cut into it to slide over the axle. So he came up with a better idea, and it's way better. So he said, you're not utilising these axles the way they're designed to be used by doing it like that. You're just using the thread, and yeah, it'll probably be strong enough, but wouldn't it be good to use them more like they're supposed to be used? And the gears will definitely be stronger as well, and it'll just make your life easier, you know, like, yeah, there's no mucking around with things. You know, once it's done, it'll be good. So what he suggested was we make a sleeve that slides over the axle that we can shim and lock in place with a nut onto the thread again, and on that sleeve, that's shimmed up against the axle, we can then weld whatever parts of the framework we like directly to that, and even brace it. So yeah, that's been the goal. So we worked out there's like 58 millimeters of axle that we could make a sleeve for. So I cut 4 sleeves, and then I got the front steering hubs and cut some square shaped slots in them for these sleeves to go into. And when he comes, hopefully soonish, sometime this afternoon, we'll be welding those two pieces together, and then we'll all of a sudden have a spot that their wheels can be mounted to the framework. We still need to mount those pieces to and build the suspension stuff, especially on the front end. But yeah, the back end's already built. It needs to be welded up and bolted up, but I haven't cut the cutouts yet for the back end. I've only cut them out for the front end. So instead of recording this episode, I've already wasted a good half an hour doing so, 40 minutes or more, maybe an hour. Yeah, actually, it's definitely been an hour. Although I've only been making this particular part of this episode for just over 8 minutes. When you add it all up with what I've deleted and stuffing around, it's been well over an hour since I sat down to make this episode. And part of it is me stalling, guys, and I did want to talk about that quickly, but yeah, part of it is me stalling, procrastinating. So the Cybertruck sits in full sunlight in the morning, and then the sun comes over after lunchtime, so it's already about 10% in the shade, and when I started recording it was completely in sunlight. So in about an hour it'll be completely in the shade, so that'll be about 1:30. And obviously any time from about now I could start working on it, so it's any time from 12:30 it's already got enough shade to start working on it. Obviously there's a hot side that's completely in the sun, but you've got one side that's already starting to get some shade, and I can start working on that side. But yeah, the old procrastination tool comes along and go, oh, I'll just wait a bit more, let more Cybertruck get more shade before I start. Maybe I'll just make this episode that I should have done yesterday. You know, like all these levels of procrastination come into play, and procrastination, guys, is a real thing for me. It's a real enemy. It's something that I battle with. I'll lay in bed and I'll say 5 more minutes, so I'll get up in a minute, I'll just do this, I'll just, just close my eyes for 5 more minutes, I'll just have a stretch, I'll just cuddle my dog for 10 minutes and then we'll get up. The dogs don't want to go to the toilet yet, there's no need to get up right now, even though I know it's time to get up. And I know that not only is it time to get up, I should have got up already and been already doing things. And this bullshit about having the Cybertruck in the sun, not being able to work on it in the morning because it's in the sun, I can get around that. I can bring an umbrella, a giant umbrella over it, and wherever I'm working I can position the umbrella so I'm not in sunlight. I can make things happen, but I'm not doing so. Instead, I'm procrastinating. So you see what I'm saying here, guys? Hopefully in the last few minutes I'm helping you appreciate my procrastination, and it's actually debilitating. It affects me as much, or probably more so, than some addictions and ailments affect people that are afflicted by drug addiction, repetitive behaviours, that sort of thing. Unhealthy mindsets. There's people that get trapped in all sorts of situations. It could be gambling, it could be sex addiction, it could be drug addiction, it could be gym junkie. You don't even have to pick something unhealthy. It could be healthy choice lifestyle with going to the gym, and just your body is your temple, and you want to build the ultimate machine of a body, and what you forget to do is live. You do build an ultimate machine of a body, and you do make yourself attractive and strong and all that sort of thing. You achieve your goals and you're happy while you're doing so, but the thing is, you're not doing anything else. You're not kicking other goals in life. So, and this is how procrastination affects me. I'm not getting anything done really with procrastination. It's not like I'm getting something done other than nothing, and if nothing's a goal, well, I'm achieving that. I'm kicking it out of the ballpark, but yeah, smashing it. I really should make this episode shorter than my last deleted attempt at half an hour, and been pushing towards halfway towards that now. So I am mindful of trying to keep this episode a bit shorter than what I'd previously recorded. So yeah, I need to be, when I finish this episode, I'll get on to making those. I'll grab the rear suspension bits, pull them out from under the Cybertruck, and I'll make those cutouts with the angle grinder. Start with the cutting disc, move to the angle grinding wheel, and then move back to the cutting disc to tidy it up at the finish. And then we'll have dropouts matching the front ones that we can weld these pieces into when the mate comes later. And then hopefully from there, I also want, I don't just want those, when he comes, I don't just want those 4 dropouts welded. I also want to weld the suspension pieces together on the rear end, so that it's temporarily a solid rear end, but it's welded together from one side to the other, and just temporarily, but solid enough so it's not going to break. And it's not just going to be tacked, it'll be properly welded, but we'll weld it in such a way that it can be, those welds can be ground off relatively easy without messing stuff up, and then we can change it by making the rear trailing arms actually swing, and put shock absorbers in place where there was none. So I have the shocks, I just don't have the time, or we want to get it rolling, and the easiest and fastest way is to skip the shocks and put the wheels on the thing as a solid. So it's just like having a push bike with no shocks on the rear end, right? It's not unrideable. Of course, having one wheel either side of you in the rear end, it's going to make it awkward because every bump is going to rock the thing, but that's okay. Uneven roads, it's going to rock, and that's okay. It does have giant fat tyres. They're 4 inches, so it's a lot of tyre, and with the right tyre pressure adjustment, I can make it nice and comfortable, I believe. On top of this, I'm not going to be going fast. I won't have the range to go far because I only have 2 shitty batteries, so it's only 2-wheel drive. I'm not going to be going crazy off-road because the suspension won't be working. I won't have the power with only 2-wheel drive. I won't have the grip with the rear end being fixed in place. So there's so many limitations when it first gets on the road. So I intend to, but that's the goal though, rush it onto the road with, lots of compromises. Like, let me quickly run through them. The bodywork. So it's supposed to be polycarbonate panels. It's plywood, and it's either painted, dressed up with vinyl wrap, or whatever. So plywood instead of polycarbonate panels. That's the first biggest thing. My windows are a temporary thing. The side windows were supposed to be polycarbonate. They came as Perspex. It was a supply issue, and I didn't even realise they diddled me out of polycarbonate and given me Perspex for probably 2 years. That's another topic. The windows on the side are supposed to be, they need to be replaced with polycarbonate. The windscreen is polycarbonate, but it needs to be replaced with laminated glass. And I need to get someone like a windscreen or window manufacturer, glass place to, make me a windscreen. Then what else is there? Batteries. We're limited in batteries, so instead of having 4 large batteries, we've got 2 small batteries. They're the right wattage, but they're not that big, and meaning we don't have much range. And also with only 2, we only have 2-wheel drive, so that's another compromise. We only have 2 instead of 4 wheels driving, and we also don't have much range. So bigger batteries, more batteries, fixes that problem down the track, but that costs money. And the compromise is get it on the road. It'll still work, it just won't work hard, and it won't work far, but it'll still work. Right? The same with the suspension. I've got the shocks, I can spend extra time now and set them up and weld them in and have the suspension working straight away when it gets on the road, but that takes time. It's much quicker to just weld the suspension together as a fixed unit and then bolt it up underneath, and then later on we can unbolt it, cut those welds and mount shocks and turn it into a swing arm setup. It's all there, it just needs to be altered. It will just need to be altered. So what else is there? What else is missing? There's the rear vault lid, so the tonneau cover. I have nothing at all at the moment for that. So I'm just covering it with a piece of plywood at night, which is just a big sheet of plywood, way bigger than the opening. I could cut the piece down to just fit that and use it as a lid temporarily until I have a tonneau cover made. But the tonneau covers, the guy that quoted me probably 2 years ago now, quoted me $550, and that's with the tracks and everything. So yeah, I really want to do that, but the money again, so it's another compromise, and that's pretty much it. There's another couple of compromises that are only little that I won't bother going into right now, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I've done these things to save money and save time. Or I'm doing those things to save money and time, get the thing on the road faster. And also where I'm staying here, I don't know if I mentioned in the last episode, but it's only meant to be a temporary help thing. And so it's summer coming on, and you all know there's a pool area here. The pool area is not for Dave and his dogs, as much as we'd like to think it is. I'm staying here for nothing, and I should be appreciative of that and just move on and let her have the pool area for her guests when they come around for a visit, when the weather's warm enough, which is pretty much any time from now onwards. So I really need to be focused on getting this thing on the road and out of here, at least get it movable. So that means getting wheels on it, and even just with the back wheels put on, it can be movable. So once these pieces get welded into place this afternoon, and then the rear suspension pieces get welded up together, then it can be bolted in place, and we basically have the rear wheels functional. They can be wired up even, and because it's all plug and play, they can be hooked up to the batteries and be working. But we won't have any front wheels attached, and that's okay. What we can do is lift it up on the front end, hook it up to my mate's tow bar, and then we can tow it in on its back wheels like it's a little trailer. Just go slow, and it's only 3 k's to where we're taking it to do the finishing work anyway, the last couple of weeks work, and that's going to be close to town too, so that'll be another good thing. So its first trip into town will only be a few hundred meters away from, town's only a few hundred meters away from where it'll be located, probably no more than half a k. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's no more than half a kilometre from town, from the centre of town. So yeah, it's exciting to know that I got that close. And yeah, that's the plan, to get it there as soon as possible, so while it's there I can actually get help a lot easier, because I'm right in town almost, like I said, just a short walk. So yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to work on. Also, it's where my mate has storage, so he's got tools there and bits and pieces, and we can lock it in there overnight time, so it's safe. So yeah, so he's actually going to be coming around and working on it. I can work on it any time, but he's going to be coming around and working on it more often than if he had to come to my place here. And yeah, it'll happen a lot quicker. And also by being in his shed finishing it off for those last couple of weeks, it kind of becomes his problem a little, to a certain degree, right? So it's in his interest to get it on the road and working sooner rather than later, even though there might only be a week or two's worth of work at that stage. It'll be in his interest to make sure that it happens sooner rather than later, so it can actually be used. But anyway guys, I'm only like 5 minutes off what I originally recorded earlier, but I have said a lot better stuff this time. I've included better detail, and there hasn't been as much dead time, and there was times where I was just silent for 10-15 seconds and just thinking, and I thought, I can't edit that out, I don't edit these, and so I just ended up deleting it. But anyway guys, appreciate you listening. The dogs are great. I'm great. Oh, Missy had a tick, massive tick on her lip, but it turned out to be a non-lethal type of tick. And yeah, it was on her lip and I got it off. She showed no effects whatsoever from it because it was a non-lethal type. But it did tell me that when I gave them all tick prevention, the little bit that she spat out was probably only half of it. She probably spat it all out. And I didn't realise. I thought she'd swallowed it actually, so I was surprised later on when I found a little bit. And it was just on the bed, and I thought, where'd that come from? And I figured it had to be her, because the other dogs love it. Like they treat it like it's a treat, and they want more even, you know. So yeah, so I'm guessing she didn't just spit out the little bit that I found. She spat it all out, and one of the other dogs ate her dose, or you know, half her dose on top of their own dose, so they're dosed up really well. But yeah, so she's actually not protected at the moment, and I need to keep a close eye on her until I can afford some more money for tick prevention for her. It cost me $70 to get the 3 of them done, and it's failed on her. But anyway, that's enough for this episode, guys. Appreciate you listening. Yeah, it means a lot that people do listen, and you are important to me. So continue to listen as we close off the remaining 20%, I guess, of the year. And yeah, I'm definitely in a better shape already. I'm positive that by the end of the year, guys, the Cybertruck's going to be on the road, usable on a daily basis. I'm going to be cruising around with my dogs in it. I'm going to be so much a happier person than I am right now. Even now, I'm a happier person than when I started this series. Alright, so it's just by having this thing close to being on the road, it's built my happiness up. Anyway, enough of that. I appreciate you guys listening, and love yous. Please like, comment, subscribe. Catch us in the next episode. Bye.